Hello and welcome everyone, I am Madals and welcome to Game 2 of this best of 3. It is from the ZvT Cup. Let me introduce these two amazing players. In the top right, we do have the blue Zerg player, it is Nerchio, and in the lower left, as the red Terran, we do have GoOdy. The map is Daybreak, which is pretty much everyone's favourite map, I am sure. Like, if I had to rank maps at the moment, it would be Daybreak, then Cloud Kingdom, and then probably Arhana I like. But yeah, we'll wait and see what these two have got planned. Of course, in game 1, we saw GoOdy there going for some really early aggression with a proxy 11-11 2-racks, which he then transitioned into a mech play. So Nerchio just wasn't able to deal with that. He wanted to go for some aggression. He wanted to go for a 2-base roach bling push, but unfortunately for him, GoOdy had been able to get up those tanks with siege mode, and yeah, all in all, we'll wait and see what happens. And Nerchio there be like, well, at least the last game took less than 50 minutes. That is true, it did indeed, and that really touches a special place in my heart right now, because I cast a series for the ZvT Gaming UK Open a few days ago, where there was a TVT best of 3, which in total lasted for 135 in-game minutes. My goodness, my voice was just like, ah. Anyway, I love the little banter going on between these two, it's very fun, and oh GoOdy, what are you doing? You're going for another proxy gate racks rather. Gosh, I keep mixing up gateways and barracks. I don't know why, it's like my new worst habit, but it's absolutely terrible and something I need to get out of the habit of. Also, I've got to shout out, I've forgotten the person's name unfortunately, but one of my Snook games I cast last week, I was mentioning about how he just got onto Team Liquid's roster, for obviously just got signed, and I accidentally said Rooster rather than roster, which I find hysterical, and you'll be pleased to know that after that I did tell a few people, and we've now got a very large running joke about the fact that Team Liquid have a mascot which is going to be a rooster now in our heads. It's brilliant, and I really hope we can make that happen. But yeah, anyway, so far we do have just the one barrack, so it's a different build than we saw previously. It's not 2 racks, so it's just going to scare Nerchio most likely. And if we look at Nerchio's scouting, he still doesn't know. He's sending out the drone to try and find something, and he is going to see the SCV and Marine, which is good news for Nerchio, and I'd imagine he's going to pull the drone straight away. There we go, so not taking any chances this time, just being like, ah, oh, for goodness sake. But he doesn't know it's not a 2 racks. He only knows that there's a Marine here, and SCVs have been pulled, and as a result, it may not be as bad as Nerchio's thinking, but he's pushing these SCVs straight back, trying to get the surround on the Marine. Should be able to, now that Marine is very trapped, and as a result, Nerchio should feel quite happy. He's pulling back, he sees the SCVs have retreated, and out of this, GoOdy is actually going for a 1-racks command center after assaults. He's got the 1-racks immediately just in the normal position, and is now going for the command center in the wall off. So if there was a Zergling counterattack, Nerchio wouldn't be able to get him, because the supply depot would just go off and he'd be absolutely fine there. So I like this build out of GoOdy. It threatened the aggression, and now these 6 Zerglings which were forced, really always going to come out, because you just have to, otherwise, well, what if your opponent wasn't faking the pressure and it was actually coming? You need those Zerglings, and as a result, these are not going to be able to do anything, because the second these Marines get in, I reckon we'll see this supply depot go up, or we at least should. There we go. So with that, GoOdy is now going to be fairly comfortable, because he's put Nerchio behind, and with that, he's really not too far out of his own build, and getting the second command center up now as well. So going for this early 3 command center build after that aggression is brilliant, because he's already forced some Zerglings out of Nerchio, which means Nerchio's drone count isn't as high as he would like. Therefore, he's really just hammering home that point that I know you've got out units you don't want, and therefore less drones, so I will go really economically focused now, and hopefully stay above you in terms of income and bases, which is going to make things very awkward for you. But Nerchio clearly seeing something isn't quite right, getting up his 3rd hatchery, and that's the right choice, because of course in game 1, remember, we saw Nerchio try and go for the 2-base pressure, which just didn't work, and Nerchio hasn't actually lost that much, so getting up that quicker 3rd means that he is going to be able to stay with GoOdy in terms of the economy, and as a result, we should see this game go slightly longer. Mecha is going to be on the cards yet again though for GoOdy, so getting down those additional factories, he's got his orbital command up, he's now getting some more SCVs out, should float this command center down when he's feeling a bit safer. For the moment, he's not going to be too happy doing it, instead floating down this 3rd command center, keeping this one in the wall off, just clearly not ready yet to move, not ready to remove that wall off because he doesn't have any substantial units out. He literally just has a handful of Marines. I think in total there are just those 4 Marines there, so a big Zergling aggressive push could cause some problems, Ling could cause some problems, and a Roach push would also cause problems for GoOdy. Basically, anything Nerchio could throw at him right now would be a problem for GoOdy. So, Nerchio getting up his 2nd gas now. He's also getting up his 3rd gas. 3 gases can mean some kind of Roach push. We've also got the double evolution chamber down now, so if it is some kind of Roach push, it will be quite nice, because against mech early on, if you are aggressive, you are better, because early game, mech, until it gets up into a sizable force with a good tank count, a good number of Thors, etc., you're not going to be in a good spot. You're going to really be trying to hold on, just play turtled up until you can get out that 200 force, when you can just go and roll your opponents. So if Nerchio is aggressive, I think that would be very nice for him. He's got his lair nearly finished as well. The roaches are now coming out. We should see roach speed start as well as soon as that lair's done, most likely. All 4 gas now up for Nerchio as well. These Hellions are going to come and poke and prod, but Hellions are not going to be able to take down the factory. Lair now finished for Nerchio. He's got the 1-1 upgrades, the attack and missile upgrades, no armor. With the roach speed, this is going to be a very offensive force. Not going to be too tanky. Against a high Hellion count, if there are too many Zerglings, it's not going to work too well. But all in all, if Nerchio can do some good damage here, he's going to be very, very happy indeed. Infernal Pre-Igniter, of course, Blue Flame upgrade, nearly done for GoOdy. That's the point at which these Hellions are going to start roasting through Zerglings. But Nerchio just droning really heavily behind this, up to 60 drones already, which is very nice for him. It means that he's going to have the economy to support a lot of units shortly. We also have the Overlord Speed upgrade coming out. Siege mode only just starting now, so that Siege mode coming down very late, in my opinion. As a result, GoOdy is even more vulnerable to a big push, but the Hellions managing to make it in. They are doing some very, very nice damage, and this is exactly what GoOdy would want in a situation. If you delay the siege mode to get Infernal Pre-Igniter out, you've got to deal a lot of damage with it. But as we see, more evolution chambers coming down to complete this wall off, which isn't a big commitment out of Nerchio, but it does mean that GoOdy's Hellions are not going to be able to make it through, and as a result, Nerchio is not going to lose any more drones, which of course is something that he desperately wants to avoid. He's been knocked under 60 again now, only losing 9 workers though, so not as bad as it could have been by any means. The roaches are starting to move forward. The Hellions going to be forced back with just the roach count there, so Nerchio doing everything, in my opinion, that's required to be a lot more comfortable here. He's pushing forward with the creep, he's taking the map, he's playing defensive, he's getting up a good economy, starting to get out more roaches now as well. Going to be up to 12, then with the 8 additional ones coming out, they're taking to 20 roaches, which against this small force is going to be very strong indeed. GoOdy trying to push forward, but with only the 1 tank. I'm not so sure how well that's going to work. The roaches can just run straight in there, they've got speed, remember, and they can just try and snipe off that tank. And if they do manage to get the tank down in a timely fashion, the rest of this force is just going to melt. Nerchio, though, he is going for something awesome, if I can find it. There we go. That is, of course, drop tech for Overlords. So, gonna go dropping roaches, which is just absolutely awesome. And here come in the roaches. The tanks do need to siege up. 2 additional tanks joining in the battle, but if they don't siege soon, it could be some problems. You see a lot of stuff going down. The tanks getting focused by a handful of roaches. All the Hellions getting taken out, and Nerchio doing precisely what he needs to do to end this push, killing off absolutely everything. And as we can see, Nerchio smelling blood, getting some more roaches in production. He's cleaned up all of the tanks. Most of the Hellions gone down as well, getting a few SCVs, which are happily repairing each other, but not quickly enough, unfortunately. And with that, Nerchio has taken a very substantial lead in that game. I'm surprised GoOdy didn't try and siege up, because if he'd got the siege and a relative spread on the tanks, he would have done slightly better. But without that, obviously, those roaches were just able to power through that entire army, and suddenly GoOdy is now quite substantially behind in terms of the worker count. He's at, well, 10 behind. Nerchio's looking good, and GoOdy just GG's out there, seeing the roaches and just being like, nope, that is not going to work. So Nerchio with a perfect engagement there, with great play all the way through, and levels up the series 1-1. So remember everyone, if you did enjoy, make sure you subscribe, leave a cool comment and like the video, then flick over to game 3, which is on my channel. I will see you there any second. Bye for now.